Welcome back to another exciting round of OCG Thursday. Madolche, Madolche, Madolche. We're getting some beautiful new support here in Eternity Code, which actually bumps this deck up to a good foreseeable future of about tier 1.5 to early, I would say, middle tier 2. It's got a long range there, but we get Madolche Saloon. During your main phase, you can normal summon one Madolche monster in addition to your normal summon or set. You can only gain this effect once per turn, and if another Madolche card or cards is returned from the field or graveyard to your hand or main deck by a card effect, you can set one Madolche spell trap card directly from your deck. So we can set Ticket, we can set Chateau, or we can set the new support called Madolche Promenade. So target one face-up card your opponent controls and one Madolche monster you control or in your graveyard. Negate the effects of the opponent's card until the end of this turn. And if you do, return your monster to your hand. You can banish this card from your graveyard to target one Madolche Xyz monster you control. Attach one Madolche monster from your hand, deck, or graveyard to it as material. So we can set up our beautiful Shock-Lala mode. We can drop the pudding under it if we need to. And we get recursion back and get a negate all built in to one card. Seems pretty good, right? Now just imagine if this deck gets anything else in the near future. It will be very interesting to see really what more we can give to this deck as it continues to move on up the tier ladder. So we have two copies of Sideframe Driver. I'm not a super big fan of this, but I get why we're playing double driver, just so we can resolve multiple gamma. One copy of Dying Pudding, two copies of Messin Gelato, triple copies of the Pudding Soucior, with triple copies of Miss Mageline, triple copies of Angeli, two copies of Don't Give a Hoot, Don't Pollute, two copies of Ash Blossom and Joy Spring, triple copies of Gamma, with triple Max C, and two copies of Effect Veiler. Now, a lot of people hate playing hand traps in this, but once again, we're starting to see more of this theory in the OCG where, resolving more hand traps looks to be about the way that we're starting to head down the path for this deck. We have triple Call by the Grave, two copies of Twin Twister, and we have triple copies of Crossout Designator. One reason why we might be seeing more hand trap usage is because of Crossout Designator. We're able to counter multiples of those hand traps by basically playing them ourselves. So that's one interesting note. Then we have one Ticket, one Saloon, two copies of Chateau, and then two copies of the Promenade, wrapping up the main deck here. Down here in the extra, we have one IP Masquerena, two copies of the Fresh to Start, one Hollyfibrax, one Lambda, one Unicorn, one Boral Sword, and one Abermax. And then we have one Abyss Dweller, two copies of the Glass Fillet, two copies of Tiramisu, and then two copies of the Chocolat a la Mode. Side deck here we have one Nibiru, two copies of Pankratops, triple copies of Phantasme, triple copies of Lancia, the third Hoot Cake, very interesting tech choice by the way on the side, one copy of Effect Veiler, then we have two Dark Ruler No More, and two copies of Red Reboot, wrapping up Madolche. Interesting to note though, we are not abusing Pot of Extravagance in this deck like previous builds. I just want to reiterate the hand trap point here. A lot of players do not like playing, things like Ash and Effect Veiler on the state side here, but looking at how this is going, we're now able to make going first boards. It might not be the most amazing thing in the world, but you're able to do really cool things with this deck now. A little bit different than you normally were used to making. Next up, we have Windwitch Invoked. Now, for those of you that remember this deck, there's a reason why the OCG was limiting things back in the day. So you used to play Windwitch in combination with something else. You would just drop your Crystal Wing in the extra monster zone and watch your opponent not be able to out this, because you get to pass on the effect of it can't be destroyed by card effects on the Crystal Wing, and then you already watch your opponent be in this really hard situation where they're just unable to out this thing, unless they have the hard-answered Kaiju to it. But, I mean, even in that case, it really just depends. And, of course, when you're dealing with time, a Windwitch resolving in a main phase is basically death to your opponent. So, definitely interesting things to be seen with this deck. So we have triple copies of Alistair the Invoker, triple copies of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, 2 copies of Effect Veiler, with triple copies of Max C, 2 copies of the Nemesis Corridor. Very, very good. Wind, by the way. So very crucial to when you get locked underneath these stupid effects. You're kind of able to navigate the Nemesis Corridor. Also, the fact that you can recur back from your banish pile with this card is always a fantastic feeling. We have 2 Glass Bell, triple copies of Ice Bell, and the 1 copy of the Snow Bell. Then we have only 2 Called by the Grave, interesting, 1 Feather Duster, triple copies of Invocation, triple copies of Magical Meltdown, triple copies of Spellbook of Knowledge, and we have 2 copies of Super Poly here, with 1 Terraforming and 2 copies of Twin Twister. And then we also have triple copies of Infinite Impermanence and 1 copy of Vanity's Emptiness, wrapping up the main deck here. Down in the next deck we have 1 Gardena, 1 Almirage, 1 copy of the Wind Pegasus. So during the main phase, you can destroy spells and trap cards your opponent controls up to the number of Ignister monsters you control. And if another monster you control be destroyed by your opponent's card effect while this card is in your graveyard, you can banish this card, target 1 card your opponent controls, and shuffle it into the deck. Huh. Windwitch synergy? Because this is level 7, right? So we can just drop on into the... Yeah, we just drop on into the Crystal Wing off of this. Huh. That's interesting. Okay. So we also have the 1 Crystal Wing, 1 Mr. Clearwing Fast Dragon, but of course, oh man, they have to deal with Thunder Dragons over there. Imagine super polying into this. Like, you super poly this off of your opponent's cards, and they're just like, oh, nice one of, and you're like, nice one of. I love cute interactions like that. We also have the 1 copy of Dragostapelia, 2 copies of Rasian, 1 Purgatrio, 2 Macaba, 1 Elysium, 1 Ugidios. Actually, can't wait for us to get this. Then we have 1 copy of the Earth Golem at Ignister. Side deck here is triple Nibiru, triple copies of Dark Ruler No More, 2 copies of Lightning Storm, 1 Twin Twister, triple Evenly Matched, and triple copies of Soul Drain. Wrapping up, well, Windwitch Invoked. Windwitch Invoked. So, we have this fun, fancy deck. So, you guys know what happens when you have this card, right? If an Altergeist monster you control will be used as link material for an Altergeist monster, this card in your hand can also be used as material. And you can use the effect of it once per turn. If an Altergeist link monster is link summoned to your field while this card is in your graveyard, you add this card to your hand. So, basically here, we go use our Altergeist monster, Melozique, with the Pukuri here. We make the Hextia, and then we go on into the Linkross, and then we chain block our search off of this. It's a beautiful thing that the OCG is allowed to do. I can't wait for it to happen here. So we have 1 copy of Altergeist Kunguri, 2 copies of Marionetta, 2 copies of Melozique, 1 Multi-Faker, triple copies of Pukuri. Then we have 1 Silguidos, triple copies of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, 1 Effect Veiler, 1 Phantasme, and 2 copies of Mr. 4-Mud Skipper. Then we have triple Max C, but of course. And we only have 2 copies of Parallel Exceed, definitely eliminating the dead draw factor for this. I definitely like this a lot. We have 2 copies of Crossout Designator, with 2 copies of 1 for 1. I don't even know what the point of limiting this was, when we just got more 1 for 1s. We have triple copies of Where Art Thou? I mean, searching for the Pukuri is really good. We have 1 Manifestation and 1 Protocol, 2 copies of Crackdown, triple copies of Infinite Impermanence, 2 Dynamiscus, and 2 copies of Personal Spoofing, wrapping up the main deck here. Down here in the extra deck, we have 1 Relinquished Anima, 1 Abermax, 1 Link Karibo, 1 Link Ross, 1 Unicorn, 1 Phoenix, 1 Boral Sword, 1 Appaloosa, 1 Prime Banshee, 1 copy of the Altergeist Memory Gant. During your battle phase quick effect, you can tribute 1 other monster. This card gains attack equal to the attack of the tributed monster had on the field. And when this card destroys a monster by battle, you can destroy 1 monster your opponent controls. And if you do, this card can make a 2nd attack in a row. If this card be destroyed, you can banish 1 monster from your graveyard instead. Good luck adding this, by the way. We have triple copies of Hextia, 1 copy of Access Code Talker, and 1 Abyss Dweller. Side here is 2 Lanstia, 2 Pankratops, 2 Effect Veiler, 1 Feather Duster, 2 Lightning Storm, 1 Raigeki, triple Anti-Spell, one in pre-order, and one copy of Red Reboot, wrapping up your OCG Thursday. So guys, what do you think? Echo is looking like it's going to be a spicy set. I'm not going to lie. Please, leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think. Well, guys, I'm out. The ride never truly ends. Thank you, patrons, for helping support the channel. Without you guys, I don't know if I'd still be doing this. And for those of you that like Cardfight Vanguard, Vancold 40 is here for all your content needs. And those of you asking if I sell cards, mcoolgames.com for all your trading card game needs. Check the description for more interesting info. Thanks for watching, guys.